I'm all about let's just chat.
This is it. Yeah, so yeah, I've got loads to talk about. I mean, it's you had a crazy career, like some of the films you've been in and stuff. So yeah, what I'd like to start with, if that's all right, is from the beginning, really. Obviously your sister, she started acting before, so you was quite young. Was this always going to be your career move? So was your sister started? You were like, yeah, well, I want a piece of that. So yeah, was that kind of was that how it went, or
Uh, no.
no?
God, well, I'm 61, so you don't want me to go back
I,
that
th-
far.
I
But
tell you
how,
what, you look really well, like for 61, like so.
well, I'm not gonna lie because I don't believe in that shit. I have a great plastic surgeon. His name is Ben Talei, and thank you. Took 20 years off my ass. But more importantly, I'll talk about that for a minute. I'm almost 7 years in sobriety. And years ago, when I was looking in the mirror when I was on Big Sky, I saw a woman who didn't take good care of herself because I was active in my disease of alcoholism. So when
Okay.
I was on Big Sky, I had a little extra money, and I thought, I'm going to do something really nice for myself as a gift for getting
Ah,
sober. So I thought, let's take off some of this wear and tear that was personally done from when you're active in your disease of addiction, no matter what your drug of choice is. It
wow.
really just does a job on you, especially as a woman. So I gave myself a little gift, and
Oh.
that's why I look not 61. Ben, moving on. How did I start in acting? Well, we grew up in a very modest household in Southern California. And my mom never drove. My dad, was Dick's Heating and Air Conditioning. He's Dick. I didn't say he was a Dick. I said that was his name. Richard, but that's his name back then. So Shell stumbled into acting the way she did, right? And we were just sitting back watching her, like, wow, oh my gosh. But remember, this was back in the day where we didn't have VCRs, we didn't have cell phones, that if you had a TV and your sister, like my sister, was on TV,
Yeah.
sitting in front of that TV at the time that it aired.
Right.
Otherwise, you missed it. We didn't
Yeah,
have,
of course.
there was no way of seeing anything again unless you were in front of what we call the boob tube. And you better not have blinked the first time she was on because she only had one line, right? So that was pretty damn cool going through grade school, having your sister be on TV, even though
Yeah.
most of the people in school didn't see it because they weren't in front of the TV at that moment. They were doing something else, right? So this was a whole different era when she started. So then in 1982, I graduated high school. And at this point, my sister was doing Scarface. And
Yeah.
I had worked just every damn job you can imagine since I was like 12 or 11. Because back then, we didn't have child labor laws and stuff.
Yeah.
My house, if you wanted something, you had to earn it. I mean, we were very modest. My dad was the only one providing for four kids, and
Mm.
things. So I wanted things like that belly, this the big lip gloss thing that all the girls had at school that you got at
Right.
camp down the road. That was like 50 cents. But I had to work. I had to get a job. So long story short, I had worked every job you can imagine. By the time I was 18, I was bored with all of those jobs, dancing in the Disneyland parade. I delivered radiators at a radiator company, picking up and dropping off radiators only because it was good money, not because it was sexy at all. I worked in a floral arrangement. I was a bus girl at a Mexican food restaurant. I rode down Beach Boulevard and with a little Mexican, really cute outfit on my bus
Yeah.
down this highway to go bus tables. So I just had worked. So by the time I was 18, I thought, well, hey, maybe I'll try that thing. And I think called acting. Now I don't know what I was thinking of. Well, first thing she said was, okay, do not even think about an agent. Don't even think about any of that. Get your ass into an acting workshop immediately and see if it's something you like.
Mm.
So my stuffed monkey, my few possessions, my clothes in my Volkswagen, drove to LA, lived in my sister's office on her couch. and all my stuff
Wow.
in the corner. And I got a job illegally cocktailing. I was only 18. So I was illegally cocktailing at a female oil and mud wrestling joint. Because they didn't ask for my ID, I kept telling them it's at home, I'll bring it tomorrow. Because I made good money to support this very expensive
Yeah.
acting workshop at the time, Peggy Fury. It was called The Loft. Anyone
Wow.
who knows anything about acting knows she's iconic, right?
Yeah.
Let me tell you, I don't know what the hell I was doing. I was horrible. I stuttered. I turned red. I was so shy. I couldn't remember my lines. It was horrendous. And I know this poor woman and her husband, Bill Trailer, at the time, were thinking, and all my scene partners, what is she doing? She is so like not right for an actor. She just, I mean, it was like take the shyest person in the room and say, go up there and say these lines and pretend you're a character. They would just do what I did, which was just go into shell shock and the whole thing. But one thing I was the hard head. I wasn't going to give up.
Oh,
Giving,
mate.
I don't know what is hell got into me, but I was like, God darn it, I'm not going to give up on this. So I just kept trying and trying and trying. Eventually, it started to click that I had to do things differently to really learn this craft, which was I had to deal with my shyness, my nervousness, my inability to control my fears, right?
Yeah.
And I had to actually start thinking about the work, which was the character I was playing. And when I would focus on everyone staring at me, that's it, I shut down. But when I would focus on what I was doing with the character, what the character was thinking, what the character was doing, the interaction with the other actor, all of a sudden it started to click. And I remember one scene I did, I actually, I don't know if they clapped because I did a good job. I think they were clapped because I didn't go up on my lines. I didn't go into shell shock. I didn't just stand there paralyzed, practically peeing my pants. I mean, I actually resembled a little bit of an actress. So after about, I think, 1 or 2 years of studying, I finally went out and got an agent and started to interview, and all that nervous came back.
Jeez, I bet. So auditioning like that, especially around that, I bet that sounds. I mean, that sounds horrendous for me. Like just going in, you know, numerous other actors are just queuing up and stuff, and then, like you say, you've got the shyness and you're learning your craft. So
Dude,
auditioning, how was that?
horrible. It still is. I mean, I've been doing this for what 30, 40 years now, and I still don't like auditioning. I think because there's people who can audition really well, and then there's people who are really good actors but can't audition. And then
Yeah,
people who've mastered auditioning, but really breaking down a role, maybe that's not their strongest point. So to me, auditioning is a little small piece of the pie, because when you get on the set, it's a whole different ballgame. You got to hit a mark. You got to do that one scene one way constantly over and over and over again, for the close up, for the wide shot, for the over the shoulder, for the off camera. You know what I mean? And
yeah,
that is a talent in itself, keeping it fresh. But doing the same thing over and over again is by itself training. I mean, you have
wow,
to recreate that moment. Otherwise, you're a robot. And then your performance looks like that. And that's not very pretty to watch, or even not fun to do. So if you do it right, you should be exhausted at the end of the day. And you know what I mean?
yeah,
You're walking through your performance in my book, I don't know, but then again, I'm also this out of the box actress. I don't view acting like other actors. I've come from a different training. I have a lot of different kinds of training. I'm a patchwork. I use all the different theories I've learned and all the teachers and coaches I've learned and put it together.
cool.
And like I said, if you're exhausted at the end of the day, I think they got some good shit on the camera. Now they got to do their job, put it together, edit it, sweeten it and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, a
But
lot of trust.
all your job is to give them everything you got and as many takes as you can. They only really need one, but give them some things to play with in the editing room. I'm a very what I consider there's actors, and then there's character actors, and then there's just I think the ones who do it because you just get by that you got that bug. And I'm going to say I have that bug. I do love doing it. I don't like getting into politics. Like I said, auditioning to me is like, oh, I mean, really, what if I had an off day and I
Mm,
audition?
yeah,
That doesn't tell you I can do this role. Hook, line, and sinker. This doesn't tell you that the stuff I'm going to bring to this role. So you have in this very one, maybe two scenes in a short amount of time, in person to go in there and nail it.
Yeah.
Or now it's all about self-tape, which is a challenge in itself. The good thing about self-tape is you can do it over and over and over and over until you get what you want.
Okay.
But here's the thing, dude, with self-tape. I don't know what they want. They give me a little description in the breakdown. I read it. I'm going to interpret it my way, and I'm crazy as. Can I
Yeah, swear, go. I've got a potty mouth myself, so there you go.
Yeah, let's go, babe. So like, I'm crazy as fuck, right? So I'm going to bring something to it that's going to be out of the box. It's how I've made my career, by the way. I'm not the cookie cutter actress. Generally, when you have me read, you know you're going to get a different flavor to that character, and it may or may not be what you're looking for. But when I'm in the room with a director, I'm going to bring them my flavor. And if you're lucky, the director directs you into maybe more of their vision.
So when does the director is that later on in a stage of auditioning? Could you have callbacks and things? When is it like, or can the director sometimes be there? I mean, is there like a structure to auditioning?
Well, back in the olden days when I started, you had to physically go to the interview, and you sat in the room with all your competition, and you'd go in. Maybe they introduced you, maybe they didn't. You know, it depends on the room. And you what sake for a better word, you blew your load, and that was it. And if you were lucky, they would say, there's something about this actor that I like. I'm going to direct them and see if they can take direction, or let me see if they can do what I'm visualizing, blah, blah, blah. And sometimes, at least for me, that would score me the role, because they could see I was directable, and they could see that I could give them what they wanted, but I also show them something else, which is always, I would hope, is fun. Some people are very specific in what they want, right?
Yeah.
And for an actor like me, that's going to be hit and miss, right?
Yeah.
That's okay, because I ain't interested in doing, like, you know, stuff that anybody can do.
How are you with the rejection side of things? So when you started off, obviously you were saying you're quite a nervous person at the beginning. That, so did that hit you hard, the rejection thing, or was it like, use that as part of, you know, this is me learning, I don't care, give me more, whatever?
Both. Being rejected sucks. Okay,
yeah.
right. I mean, some people take rejection better than others, right? I don't like it, but at the same time, I can tell you that when I left the interview, I wouldn't hire me. After that piece of shit I just laid down. Or, you know what I mean? Or the audition I might send on a self-tape. It's like, I'm really auditioning in the dark here. I have not a clue. So all I can do is, if I feel like I nailed it, I did 150%, then I let it go. And if they reject me, I feel, then I can say, well, I don't really think it was much about me as much as it was they're looking for a type. They have an offer out to a bigger actress. You know, there's a lot of factors. There's also a shitload of actresses that are unemployed that are amazing.
Yeah.
And different. So it's kind of hard to take it personal when there's a million amazing fish out there. Well, I don't fish because I'm vegan, but there's a lot of vegan cookies to at the grocery store. There'll be a whole bunch of really good cookies that you didn't pick because your mom said you get one pack of cookies. Pick well, you know, which I'm always worse. I was never pick the one that I said, why did I pick coconut? I don't even like coconut. I like chocolate. I'm not just, you know, because like, don't put pressure on me, and I cave. So if you think about it, in perspective of what's going on with the industry and the climate, especially now more than ever, there's so much unemployment in our industry. It's ridiculous, with the strike, the economy, with the studios pushing back on us striking. You know, there's just a lot of factors going on. So there is, and I'm going to say this with love, a lot of amazing actresses, actors, and theys out there that, I mean, talk about a plethora of choices for those making TV films in indies and whatever. I mean, there's a thing called a micro budget, I heard the other day. Micro. I never even heard of that. I said, micro budget? You mean low budget? They're like, no, micro budget, $125 a day.
Wow.
Now, I was like, well, do you guys, do they know how much gas is? I mean,
Yeah.
where you live, So anyways, I was like, wow, that's kind of part of what's going on as well. So if you say, wow, I kind of feel like I'm a little bit worth more than $125 a day. And by the time everyone gets commissions and taxes, I almost work
That's
for free.
yeah, that's horrendous.
Right. If you want any kind of integrity, you might say, I'm going to pass on that, not because I don't like the project, but just because, man, something about that feels wrong. There's another actress going, I'll take it.
Yeah.
I don't give a shit.
It's weighing it up, isn't it? Because like to get noticed, you got to be out there. Like
Right.
so it's like well, you want to make it. This is what you're having. It's up to you, kind of thing. And then, like you say, there's plenty more waiting down the queue, like to take this role. But like you say, at the same time, like, on that amount of money, how can anyone survive that? It's just ridiculous. Like, this is their
Yeah.
living.
Yeah. And then, and in the defense of the production, they want to make a film. So there's the normal SAG budget, and then there's low budget, then there's ultra low budget, and then there's, I guess, a micro budget. I might be missing one, but anyways, these
Jeez.
give producers an opportunity to get their scripts made, and I completely understand that. I produced a few films, actually not films, they were shorts.
Mm-hmm.
I get it, where I was the producer, I was the executive producer, I was the PA, I was the camera assistant. I used my makeup, I did the makeup. They used my clothes, the actors used my clothes. I mean, I get low budget. I've done and to me that's kind of fun. But being on the other side of that, you have to sometimes you have to just ask yourself, and again, like, look at me. You think people look at me and they look at my body of work and they go, she's got to be rich. It's like, have we met? No, I'm not. I'm not. A lot of actors who are like me, where you might recognize me or know my work, the assumption is we're rich.
Right.
Less than 1% are
Jeez.
actually are rich, where they don't have to work. They work because it's fun.
Yeah.
I work because I have to. Right.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, but I love it.
Well, that's it, isn't it? You started like way back at the beginning, like so. Your first kind of movie. Am I right in saying it? Were Into the Night. Was that your first movie? So obviously working with your sister Michelle, but also your other sister Laurie. She was involved as well.
Well, yeah.
She was like production assistant or something. What was that? Like,
look at you ask about the unicorn sister. Good for you. No one asked about her. We have another sister and we have a brother.
yeah, I noticed you had a brother as well, but is he not really into the film industry now?
No, Lori's the unicorn sister. She on Into the Night, which was the film Shell was doing, and I'll tell you about how I got that film, which was my very first role. And John Landis, to this day, I can't thank him enough. What a generous man. But my little sister Lori, who was looking for a job, they gave her headphones and a walkie-talkie and said, "You're a PA." So she was a PA on the film. Shell is starring in the film, and I was out there hustling, trying to get my first job back in the day, and I think it still applies. I'm not sure. They're called union films. We're in Screen Actors Union, right?
Okay.
So the TV and at that time, all films were union. I don't even think, did we have low budget then? Anyway, or non-union films. I'm not sure if we even had non-union films, but everything was the union, everything. But here's the trick. To get the part on the TV or the feature film, you had to be in the union, but you couldn't get the damn interview unless you were union. But you couldn't get the role unless you had the interview. So there was this catch-22. So you end up cycling the same ones who snuck in and got their SAG card, or how in the hell they got it, no one knows, right? But you had to eventually, somewhere along the lines, they had to read people.
Yeah.
So we discovered, being a very clever group of people, actors that we are, we had to, and the agents back then, we had to slime our way into those interviews. So when they wouldn't ask if your client was in the union or not, you'd get an interview and you just go in there, and you would buffered our resumes to make it look like we were SAG. So when they started asking questions about your resume, you were like on what was the one she did? Oh, Grease 2. Okay. When she did Grease 2, I was in high school. Lori and I came up to visit her, or she drove us up. We weren't driving. And we were on the set watching her do Grease 2. And so they had us walk by the background. I don't even think we got paid, but we just, so we could say that we were in a film, but we walked around. And at the time they used to call it extras,
Yeah.
but then they started calling it atmosphere. And then there was a glorified extra, meaning you were showcased, right?
Right.
When I went to go put that on my resume, my agent at the time said, put down, oh, there was a clever way of saying like glorified atmosphere or something like that. So they'd ask you, and they would say, so what did you do on Grease 2? On that film, and you're like, yeah, I was, oh, you know, the scene with the car hop, and she was there. They're like, yeah, where were you again? I don't remember. Yeah, there was a scene where, you know, they were talking and there was the cars. Yeah. Well, there was a group of kids who walked by. They were like, you were, and I'm like, yeah, I was an extra. But meanwhile, I got caught in a lie, but we all did. They didn't really care at that point. But here's the thing, you better be good then when you audition, because otherwise you get exiled, right?
Yeah.
You were that clever to get your ass in the door to get the interview. They usually appreciated your moxie. They appreciated your drive to want to act.
Exactly.
And, right. And luckily, and hopefully you'd really make damn sure you nailed that performance. May not have gotten the role, but let me tell you, the casting director remembered you.
Yeah.
So I auditioned for something. I slimed my way in, and I auditioned, and I got it. Michelle was on Into the Night, and no one. Again, back in the day, you had to call people on the phone. Okay, so I called my parents in Orange County. I got a role. Oh my God! So she called my brother Rick in Orange County. Oh my God, Dedee got a role. And Shell was married to someone else at the time, and she was like, they were like, oh my God, Dedee got a role. And I called my little sister Lori. Oh my God, you know, Dedee got a role. Then my agents called me back again. Nope, I didn't even have a pager then, that's easy. Pager, remember those? Yeah. And they called me back and said, you're in the union, right? Now remember, all agencies had union and non-union actors for their roster. They had forgotten what, because we've been lying for so long, they forgot which one was union, which one wasn't. And the assumption was that I was. And I said, no, I'm not in the union, remember? And they go, oh yeah, hold on, let me call you back. We had to call the production back, who said, you know what they did. They said, well, you know something, what they didn't want to do was Taft-Hartley me. Taft-Hartley means they have to pay money to get you into the union. They didn't want to do that when they liked the second girl as well as me, but they liked me a little better. But when they found out she was union, I wasn't, they took the role away from me and gave it to her. Simply because I wasn't in the union. This is shit, honey, we got
politics.
Back in the 80s, man, a lot of shit happened in the 80s that would never fly now. So I told Shell, and she was like, she was, of course, that's so not right. You earned that role. So she went to work that night and told John Landis, who was directing this tonight, the story. He said, oh, that's a bunch of bullshit. Tell her to show up Friday night, in front of Fredericks of Hollywood on Hollywood Boulevard with the trashiest clothes she's got. Tell her to just mess her makeup up bad, and I'll just throw her in the scene and make her a hooker. And I'll give her a daily rate. I'll Taft-Hartley her into the union. Tell her I'll cut it out of the film because I'm just going to do her a favor and let it be done. That's ridiculous. That's a horrid story. I hate that. You know, the whole thing. Just a lovely man. I show up looking like a $10 hooker. I didn't know what I was doing. I'd never been on set before. Super fun. And anyways,
what a legend.
Yeah, and he basically said, look at your sister and ask her if she wants a party. And then look at Jeff and ask him if he wants a date. So I did, but I didn't. Now remember, I've been studying for 2 years. So I didn't come in with just a $10 hooker. I had did research. I had went and studied the hookers on Sunset Boulevard. They were on Sunset Boulevard at the time. I went, you know, as a character artist, you know, I did this whole thing. I had a whole background, who she was, where she'd come from, why she was on the streets. You know, I had a full character for 2 lines. And he did. And I guess, Shell and Jeff's reaction to what I said, and then my reaction to them back cracked him up, that when he saw it, he said, I'm going to keep it in the film because it's really funny. And
that's awesome.
He kept it in the film, but it gets better. I didn't have a dime to my name, right?
Right.
You had to pay money for the card, and my daily rate didn't pay the whole charge. So he said, come in, and I'll give you some ADR, audio dialogue replacement. We call it looping, where you go in and you fill in voices and stuff. And he gave me 2 days of ADR, which gave me enough money to pay for the rest of the union card. Because
Wow.
I couldn't pay for it. I forfeited the card, the union card, or my membership, I should say.
Jeez.
So it goes to show you, just when you lose hope, if you don't give up, there is somebody there who will throw your life.
Wow. What a story. That's pure dedication there, isn't it? Like, so that drive, that just like that got you going for the rest of your career. I mean, like, that's incredible. So looking into like your past films, would you say the first kind of like big film, if you like, was Dangerously Close? So that was quite an early film. Albert Pujon and John Stockwell and all that. So what was your early memories of that? Because Albert Pujon, like, we covered a couple of his films on podcast. He's just this really like an enigma kind of director, and like his career and his, the things he did in his later career and things like that. So I'm just interested to know from him, like, what was he like on set as a director?
He was great. That was a really fun set. That was a bunch of amazing actors, and Albert was amazing. I was really young, so I was like just a sponge. I was very spongy, so I took in all the information. Was that my first big film? No. You know what's interesting? You know what was my actual book?
Like your first kind of noticeable role?
VAMP, because VAMP was a cult classic. But what happened when it came out, they sadly, I think it was Aliens, they put it up against, big mistake. That was our audience, right? But it never died out. People discovered it later. So to this day, VAMP is still this cult classic. Now, but rewinding that, I'm going to say, believe it or not, and here's another great story of another amazing person who threw Miss Dedee over here a lifeline, was Falling Down with Michael Douglas. Small role. I'm like the small role cameo queen.
Yeah.
It's kind of like what I do. I mean,
it's a hell of a scene as well, that.
Now, let me tell you what happened, though, because again, it wasn't like that. I went to read for Joel Schumacher for a show at the time called Malibu 2000. It was a TV series. And I'll never forget it. Anyways, I read, and because of, it's sweating. It's really humid here on the East Coast. So
right.
You can't see the dripping.
No, literally nothing, no.
My glasses were falling down my face. I don't have the fan on because, well, it'll be like, so ignore my sweat over here. So for this audio, Miss Pfeiffer's sweating over here. Do the visual on that. Those who see, they're like, yeah, she looks a little clammy.
It looks well, seriously. There's no glistening.
the groovy, hippie background I have, and hippie shirt completely overshadows all the clamminess that's going on. So I went and I read, and I remember when I was acting, I went like that, and I swung my hand, hit a lamp, it went to fall over. I grabbed it, but didn't break the scene. I just kept going because I learned from Peggy Fury the first 2 years, no matter what happens, you keep going. Don't ever break character. Don't ever break character. And also remember, back then, our training was different because we were working with film on TV and feature film.
Right.
Film, very expensive. Film was expensive. And there wasn't no take two, it wasn't like now everything's, what is it?
It's like digital stuff into it. Like, yeah. So,
No,
I mean, the latest Danny Boyle, he did the latest 28 years later using an iPhone. So, like, there you go.
Right, and you record over that shit. You know what I mean? It's like you don't like film was a material thing, like the old-fashioned film cameras that you would take the film out and go get it developed. That's exactly what we were using. So if you fucked up a take, that was money. They didn't like that. So a light could fall down, a set could fall down, an actor could trip and fall over you, and you just keep going until that director said cut, because they would try to salvage every damn take they could because it was expensive, so the actor never said cut. And if you did, So when you came on the set, you were prepared up the wazoo. So that was the generation I came from. And you'll notice a lot of older actors, we came from that generation. So we show up really prepared. So to this day, when we see actors that don't even know their lines, I'm like, what? How could
Yeah.
they're like, you know, because they know it's a cut and paste thing, and they know that it's, you know, it's just a whole
The
different
record over it, yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And if something they go, oh, sorry, cut, I'm not in it. I'm not in the moment. And I'm like, bitch, who cares if you're in the minute? Your call. I don't remember the director saying cut, you're not in it. You don't say you're not in. It's just really it's just a different way. So, but I'm like ebb and flow, going with it, you know. But
Mm.
I hit the lamp, it went flying, I caught it in midair, put it back up, continue on with my lines and my character, use that in, by the way, you also acknowledged that I did that, the character acknowledged, oops, oopsie, sorry, and then kept going. So he loved what I did so much, but he still picked Drew Barrymore.
What film was it? What for the TV series?
TV show called
Yeah.
Malice 2000. I didn't even have a TV then, so I don't know if it aired or not. But he said, so he said, thank you very much. I remember him laughing, really liked it. Nice to meet you. I went back home. My agent once again called me on the phone. Remember, these were back in the days where we called each other. And they said, listen, he loved you. The role went to Drew. I said, of course it did. And it was some annoying beat me out, Patricia Arquette, whatever, Brooke Shields, just goes on, Julia, you know, these were all my competition. They were
Yeah.
they said, but he really liked you, so he's going to give you this small role. Here we go. Small role in a film he's doing called Falling Down with Michael Douglas. Small role, but he knows you're going to do something with it he's going to love. So, yeah. And so that was the role.
Yeah.
I looked at it, and once again, note, I was told by Peggy Fury there is no such thing as a small role, only small actors.
That's it. Great advice.
Let me tell you, I made a career from that philosophy. So my cameos, my small roles, which I would never even call them that, I think get attention, and people appreciate that because of my training, and also the training is also an open end. I do this little trick where you never close the character up with your performance, you open in, so they want to psychologically see more of you. It's a whole like thing you do. But yeah, right. If you, with your performance, if you're closing like your end, that's it, then that's what you're going to pick up on. But if you do these little things that you keep an open door psychologically, they're like, hey, I want to see that character again. Keeps you hired, my friend, right?
Wow.
Yeah, it's kind of like when you go into a store and you leave light,
Yeah.
you leave an give light and you leave, they want to see you again. But if you go in there and just shit with your attitude and its negativity, they're very grateful you don't come back again, right? So it's energy. As you can tell by my surroundings, I'm all about energy.
Yeah.
So in the scene, in Falling Down, it was just written that we all hit the floor when he pulls the gun out. Well, first of all, the way I scored that role, it was literally just, we're not giving him, what was it, breakfast? Because it was lunchtime.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. It was really a no-brainer, straightforward. We're just, you know, we're the hiccup in his road. We're one of the many shitty things that happens to him on that day. He just wants breakfast and we won't give it to him. There was nothing else written to this scene. Well, I decided that Sheila, that's her name, thought she was Bonnie, and she was every day looking for Clyde to walk through that door and take Bonnie away from this whammy burger. She was just like too good for the whammy burger, but she was just waiting for Clyde to come take her Bonnie away and ride off into the sunset. So when his character walks in, can you imagine what my character did? Unlike the other characters, I was like, oh, he's here. Yeah. So when he said the line, when she says he's got a gun, and it's written, everybody, including her, hits the floor. Sheila, who's actually Bonnie, waiting for her Clyde, didn't say he's got a gun and hit the floor. I went, he's got a gun. I stayed up. Everyone else hit the floor. Michael Douglas looks at me like, what the fuck? And he's old school. He never broke character, right? Joel Schumacher started laughing hysterically, and he kept it in.
Awesome.
Sadly, when we released the film, he had to edit it out because of the tone of the film, and because we had literally filmed that scene a month after the riots. right outside that Whammy Burger was downtown Los Angeles, which was burnt down. We had the National
Jeez.
Guard around us. We actually were supposed to film that scene the day the riots broke out. I was waiting for
Jeez.
my set call the next day, and I was again right in front of the TV again, right? And I said, "Wait a minute, there's something going on." You know, we did everything was on the TV or the radio.
Yeah.
We didn't know. So I was like, "Are you gonna like cancel the shoot for tomorrow? There's some major shit going on." We still didn't know. And they were like, "Well, not yet." I'm like, "Well, I drive a Bronco for fuck's sake." It's not white, but it's red. If you know what the rights are about, right? I was like, I what? So they canceled it, and we had to wait because of the riots and the aftermath. So when the movie was released, when he edited it, he had to change the tone of it.
Right. Oh, okay.
Yeah, and that scene or my reaction to him was cut, but it made me feel really validated and good as an actress because my choices were well received by someone so amazing like Michael Douglas and Joel Schumacher, and so like that to me is like my little pat on the back.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
The film, but for me it doesn't matter that if it lands in the film or not. I know in my heart that I gave it 150%.
From your peers.
Yeah, and I got a reaction out of two men who've been doing it a long time, who I think are really amazing. So that's kind of like, look at me.
Nice. So yeah, going on to the dangerously close thing. So I don't know if obviously Robert Russler, he was involved, weren't he? Like, so when you got on to set a VAMP and he was involved, so kind of like, did you all like, hey, like it was like a few years later or whatever, did you remember each other? I know you didn't have scenes as such, but like, what was the response? Because he's a cool guy, isn't he, Robert Russler?
Robert and I worked together twice.
Yeah.
Not uncommon back then to brush up against actors that you worked with before. And have you interviewed Robert?
No, I'd love to though.
Out of school or not? Well, oh fuck it, I'll just say it. I had a little bit of a crush on Robert when we were doing VAMP. Nothing ever happened, but I had a little bit of a crush on him. So then when I saw him again, yeah. So we like kind of tried to date. It didn't really work out, and I'll tell you why. He never called me back. Okay, there, I said it. So, hey, it happens to everybody. Okay, no one's above like that whole shit. But remember, he was hot and young, and he still is, I'm sure. But and so when I saw him on Teachers Liaison, I was very cordial and very nice. Oh, wait a minute, was it after that? I don't know. It was. I'm very professional no matter what.
Yeah.
That's how I was raised by my dad. Even though he was in heating and air conditioning, he was very professional. So no matter what my little broken heart told me. So it was fun. Now looking back, what are the odds? I was like, what are the odds? So, and then I saw him again years after that. And of course we all laugh about it, but Robert was insane on VAMP. He was crazy.
It was.
You need to get him on the show. Let him tell you his version of what happened with him and Grace. Just say, Dedee Pfeiffer said, you need to tell me what happened with you and Grace on VAMP. She ain't talking out of school.
That's it. Now I'm going to message him and literally tell him from the horse's mouth, so to speak. I need to get to this interview. There you go.
A lot of shit happened on VAMP. The making of VAMP was the movie.
Well, did they ever make like a making of documentary? Was anybody shooting or any of that? What was it? All right, okay, I need to check that then.
DVD, and there's quite a few. I remember doing a lot of post interviews for the making of VAMP. Right. A lot. I can't tell you where they are, what they are. If you Google that, and there's a DVD. There's a whole bunch of because the story of making VAMP was so freaking interesting. Everything that happened on a daily basis. The fact that the film got finished is nothing short of a miracle. That it makes it even more iconic than it already is because it's such a special film, And I got to say, nobody could have played those roles better than Chris Makepeace, Robert Russ, Geddy Watanabe. No one could have directed it better than Richard Wenk. Billy Drago, Sandy Barron. I mean, I just go on and on. And Grace Jones. Hello. How can I forget? Katrina.
Well, did you know about like was because she weren't originally in the director or producer's like mind, was he? Like for that role, like so, I mean, obviously she like smashed it out of the park, like, but there was. I saw an interview with the producer. I think he was even looking at Jerry Lewis and Tina Turner and stuff like that. Did you hear anything of that?
Oh, for the role.
Yeah, for the role of Grace, yeah, Katrina.
Excuse me if my memory serves me wrong. And like I said, I may have some great plastic surgery. I am 61. My brain is still 61. I try to keep it sharp, but dude, oof. I remember, I think, unless I've completely made this up, and you need to have Richard Wank on here, the director, he'll tell you all this. But I think he told me what happened was, and a lot of times in movie casting, when you have the director, the producer, the writer, and all these executive producers, everyone has a say on the cast. And what happens, not always, but often enough, usually it's called a gimme, a givey, and a gimme, or there's a name for it, but like not one person gets their choices of casting across the board.
Right.
Unless it's their money 100%, then they can basically point to you and say you're going to wipe their ass. If you pay for everything, you have all power. Generally speaking, like the director gets their choice, the producer gets their choice, and everyone kind of gets a say in it. So from what I understand, who was it? Okay, Richard Wank, who was the producer, writer, and director. And then there's Don Borchers, the producer, right? And I believe Don, that's probably who you heard talking about, Don Borchers, he's the producer. I believe he wanted Grace Jones as Katrina. And then Richard Wank wanted me for Amaretto. But Don wanted somebody else for Amaretto. And Richard wanted somebody else for Grace's role, right? So there was a gimme, a gimme and a gimme, right?
Yeah.
So, well, if I get Dedee for Amaretto, you can have Grace, or maybe it was the other way. Actually, the other way around, I think. Dawn said, you can have Dedee for Amaretto, but then I get Grace, or what, I can't remember how it went.
Right.
So basically, I was the director's choice, and she was the producer's choice.
Okay.
And there you go, right? That stuff happens behind closed doors. We never know that stuff happens. But let me tell you, if anyone out there wants to go into this industry, remember, don't take it personal, man. You can't. This is the kind of stuff, negotiations happen behind closed doors. You never know why you didn't get called back, why you didn't get the role. You need to look at it from a perspective of entirety.
Yeah.
A lot of moving pieces, a lot of opinion. I have replaced actors who have been fired from projects. Right. Who got it, and for whatever reason, maybe there wasn't a lot of chemistry, or that, who knows. I've also been fired from projects, so other actors replaced me. It happens. It's devastating when it happens.
I can imagine. Yeah, that's brutal.
But, what are you going to do? What happens when anything happens to you? When you fall, and you break your nose, you get back up, and maybe you go get it fixed, or maybe you don't. Now you have an interesting nose. I don't know. Now I'd say you got an interesting nose. I have a nose job, but then my dog hit it when it was healing, and it messed it up. So technically, I don't have a nose job because
so go back to original.
Exactly. When it was healing, you're not supposed to move it. Nothing. Can't even put glasses on. This was back in the 80s. And when I bent down, my dog came up and went boom, and I heard a crack again. And I was like, oh, that's how they give you a nose job, is they crack it. So I was like, oh no. And I called the doctor, and he goes, oh no, you got to come back in and reset it. Well, I was too busy. I couldn't do that. I didn't. So I don't even know what nose I would have ended up with, but I have a dog version of a nose job.
Dog nose.
It's really like a real nose now.
Yeah. Absolute waste of money. So there you
go. Right?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of ins and outs that happen. It's kind of like lots of moving pieces with everything. And I'm just going to tell you, man, bamboo. All I have to say is bamboo. Bamboo goes with it. Bamboo blows to the left. It blows to the right. It blows forward. It blows back. You can rip bamboo out of the ground, and it will sprout back. Bamboo is very hard to, I put this in quotes, kill. It's very hard. You got it, bamboo, man.
Yeah, I'm going to use that in life. Yeah, thanks for that.
Remember, other people's journey is none of your business. Stay in your own lane, babe.
Yeah, I love it. So going on to obviously VAMP. Can you just talk me through the bit where so they're driving through the city, they spin out of control, and then they're in a ghost town. Like, what the hell? Like, and then there's the ending when everyone's walking away. So what? Explain that spinning bit because I still can't figure out what's even happened on that scene. Like,
Richard Wenk was such an interesting story writer and director. And, one thing I want you to note when you see the film, he did something that at the time I'm not sure was done, but he did a lot of things that hadn't been done before. So it went under the radar. But when you're visually watching the film, you pick up on it. When they're in real life, there's certain colors and certain, like he lit the scenes differently.
right.
When we're alive, we're on camera. And when those who are not alive were on camera, it was a different lighting, like blues, colder lighting. And then when the people who were alive were on camera, he did more like magentas and pinks and stuff. So there was a visual to the film that you didn't pick up on, but it's so interesting. And you'll notice the light changes when the car spins.
Yeah, the whole it's like dusk and everything, isn't it?
Yes. Now here's what's interesting, and people don't know this unless you watch the making of VAMP. And I didn't even know it until I saw Richard talking about it. I went, I didn't know that. So it's a psychological memory he was triggering that you didn't know, but with the visual. What movie do you remember has a tornado in it that after that, her life went into this whole surreal element?
Yeah, because I think there's, I think they even say as soon as they pull over, don't they? It's like, I don't think we're in Kansas anymore. I think that's one of the lines, isn't it?
And Kansas was in. That was a wink.
Ah, yeah.
Okay. That shit went back crazy after that tornado, right?
Yeah.
And at the end, she wakes up and right, and so he used that subconsciously as a backdrop for VAMP. Was it real? Was it fake? I don't know. Go on the journey and right, because same thing with the Wizard of Oz. If you think about it, like the people was it really a dream?
Well, this is it, isn't it? Was she just off her tits on drugs? Who knows? Yeah, like you could get.
Right. I'm sorry. My light, I was using the natural light, but we have clouds now. Is this really dark?
It's still visible. I can see you fine. Yeah.
Because I can.
Hey, what about like you were literally talking about light, then going into.
I really believe in the paranormal and supernatural because I've had my own personal experiences with that.
Wow. Okay.
Oh yeah. So I'm very much into other energies and other life forms and things that are other than us on planet Earth. I know not because I follow or watch people. I've had my own experiences that that's why I don't think this is a coincidence. It's basically my like spirit guides going, hey, we're here, girl. We're talking about the tornado and whether, see?
Yeah.
You could write this off as a coincidence or just, oh, she's nuts. Okay, you can do that too. Everyone does that. Or for those of us who believe in other energies, and I have major powerful spirit guides I know follow me. I know people I've lost. I just lost a dog the other day, and I know she's still with me, Sparta.
We're very much like that. Yeah, I'm a dog person. Yeah. That's awesome.
She's that was probably her doing this because she was all crazy.
Well, we when our dog passed, the puppy we ended up getting a few months later was born on the day that he died. Like, so it's like, and we've still got him now, and there's loads of characteristics and everything. So yeah, I'm all for that. Yeah.
See, that to me opens up the conversation and the possibilities of reincarnation. Again, I don't really know 100% other than my own experiences with the supernatural and the paranormal, other than those personal experiences and having spoken to other people. I'm going to say I'm 99.9% I'm into it. Reincarnation is something so interesting because I don't believe, for me personally, and all of us, this is my belief, that when we came into these earth bodies, that we just came into these earth bodies. And when we die, we die. I don't believe in that. I believe it's a journey. It's a fluid journey of energy, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Right. And right now, this is like a stop in this bigger picture, this bigger journey. And I think that's probably where reincarnation might come into it. Like if you get it right in this lifetime, if you right, whatever it is you're supposed to be doing in this lifetime, whether it's learning or maybe I don't know what, but if you just stop and you're still enough, it will come to you why what you're supposed to be really doing in this body in this lifetime. And if you lean into that and make those changes, your frequency goes higher and you're more in harmony with yourself. That soul, I believe, is going to go to some beautiful light places. I'm not sure. I don't think you have to come back again and redo it.
No, I'd rather not.
Right. Or, I mean, let's hope you don't come back as a fucking fly, because I know for a fact my son will zap you. He is all into that zapper fly. I mean, you don't want to come back as a fly, not in this house. My son, I will remove the fly and put him outside. My son just, I hear zip. I'm like, God, you just flush him outside. Nah, zap.
Yeah. Yeah, they've got a bad reputation, flies, but yeah, they're harmless enough. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I did get bit by a wasp yesterday, and it really freaking hurt. And I said, "Dude, I'm on your team." He's like, "No, you're not." Fucker, it still hurts.
So yeah, like so going on to Vamp as well, like like we were saying, like your style, like so like you've done. So there was like All Nighter, obviously Dangerously Close, and then Vamp, and then they were all around that period. Like your style, very similar. Like so, it had a bit of Madonna-esque about it. I mean, was that anything? Was that just a coincidence, or was you just like, hey, I love Madonna, I love our style and stuff? So, what was it, especially in Vamp?
Love Madonna. Oh, I grew up with Madonna. You know, I went to her concert. She was, and I'm going to still say the bomb, cutting edge. So yeah. And I don't think it's a coincidence that when I was in high school, which was the late 70s, and I hadn't heard of her yet at this point, I was cutting off my PE shirt at the waist, because when you tuck in we had PE clothes back in the day. When you tuck in the shirt into the shorts, it made you look chubby, and I didn't like that. So I cut it off. My mom was so pissed. And the PE teacher was like, there was no rule against it, but she didn't like it. But I was like, I'm sorry, I'm not tucking this shit in my shorts. I'm not so, and then years later, Madonna comes out and she has this midriff, right? And I was like, yeah, girl, yeah. She probably didn't like it tucked in either. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying I was doing her fashion before her. I just was vain and didn't want to look chubby, period. It just, interesting, it became a fashion. Shirts off at the waist at that time. I was very much into Madonna. I wanted to be her. I just adored her. I loved everything about her. So to say I was trying to be like her, absolutely. And it was hot then. You know, it was really, it's kind of like now this whole like ozemic skinny rail skeleton thing is back. It's sad that it's back. But anyway, that's just my opinion. Sorry. I just think women and men, their bodies are beautiful, and we just need to embrace that. We were embracing it, and now we went backwards. But anyway, like that's a fashion right now. The skinny ozemic, it's called the no butt ozemic look, and the gaunt look. That's in. You can tell by my I'm not ozemic. No. I'm very much. I like food. So, and I want women and young girls to look at me and be inspired. And you know, and eat and exercise and be strong and be healthy, you know, blah blah blah. So back then Madonna was the thing. Now it's ozemic. Each generation takes its own, you know. So yeah, that Madonna was my thing at the time. Yeah.
Oh, nice. On the All Nighter, like, how fun was that for a shoot? Because that literally, I mean, you're there with like the Bangles lead singer, and it was just. Yeah, you were just like on the beach. Everyone's just like having a great time. I mean, it was almost like it's not even a movie. It's just like recording, like college kids, and they're just like, yeah, let's party up beach there, whatever. You know what I mean? So, what's your memories of that set?
The all-nighter. Well, let's just see. The all-nighter, right? I'm sorry. I'm just a lot of movies. The titles are similar. So I just went to Midnight Hour. Midnight Hour with Sherry Belafonte. Hold on. All Nighter, Susanna Hoffs.
Yes, right? That's the one. Yeah.
Joni Cusack.
Joan Cusack.
And Susanna. That was super fun. When I first met Joan Cusack, she had came She was with a guy at the time. Anyways, they were having issues, so she moved in with me
Oh
during the
wow.
during the filming. Now, here's the best part about that story. I had a, what do you call it? A single. It wasn't even an apartment. It was a house converted in each like part of the house. They made into like a bachelor, is what they called it.
Right.
So it was a room with a toilet off to the side with a door, but the kitchen was right there, and it was like a hot plate and a sink. It was literally a bachelor. So she moved in with me.
Brilliant.
Yeah, I was like, oh, you guys are having trouble. You can't have this while you're working. Just move in with me. She's like, okay. I mean, we back in the 80s, man, we did some crazy ass shit, right? So,
Mm.
anyways, she moved in with me. We had a blast. And then so, oh God, that was fun. Susanna was dating the guitar player of the band on the beach named Luis Gutierrez. He was in a band at the time called oh, I don't remember. Anyways, but when they started the movie, they had broken up, so they were not together. I'm just
Right.
gonna say that. And she started dating the lead guy, the blonde, really cute one, John. What was his name? They started dating.
Oh, the other surfer guy, you on about?
Yeah, the lead guy, yeah, blonde, yeah, surfy guy. So she started kind of, I don't know if they were dating or flirting or hanging out, I don't know. But then Lewis and I started flirting. So I
What?
was dating her ex-boyfriend. She did not like that. But I was like, dude, you can't have them all.
Yeah.
Hey, and it wasn't, yeah. So he and I dated for a while, and then that didn't work out. But so that was fun. So that was really oh, that's right. I remember that. Oh, that was just a bunch of young actors taking our shit very seriously, but we had a lot of fun while doing it.
Yeah.
Um, I think back then we realized we were not doing brain surgery, we were not finding a cure for cancer. This is not what's going on, but pure entertainment coming from hard work and joy and fun. Um,
Yeah, it was a Universal film as well, weren't it? Big studio.
yeah, it was, and she was very popular, being Susanna from the
I think it was like a first starring role. Was they trying to make it as like a step up into the movies from the because sure Bangles were big around that period, weren't they?
yes,
Yeah.
that was a great film for Joni, me, and Susanna. Because anytime back then you could get into a studio film, especially the bigger studios. That was huge, yeah, because it was all about exposure. You needed to be seen in these films, so because you know how this is how it is in Hollywood kind of life. Nobody wants you until somebody wants you,
Right.
right? You can't get arrested until somebody goes, I like her, him, they for this role enough to put them in this high budget film. Then all the people in the past who said no to you are now like, well, I always did really like you. There was another person who, they had red hair, you were blonde. You're like, yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm now in the big film, and now I'm the shit, and now you want me. I mean, come on, that's what it is, right? It's like I
Yeah.
didn't like him until the beautiful girl in the school decided she liked him, and then you like him now all of a sudden, right? Not me, but yeah,
No, absolutely.
yeah, yeah.
Um, so yeah, so after that, I want to talk about House 3 as well, the horror show.
Oh, the
You
horror show,
remember?
yeah.
Yeah, so it's over here it's called House 3. It was just the horror show, I think, in the States, weren't it?
They renamed it and never told me.
Yeah, because I was
I
going to say, like,
Yeah, I didn't even know they renamed that. Yeah.
yeah, well, I don't know why they changed it because it's the Sean Cunningham as well involved, weren't it? So he did all the House films, but
Mhm.
um, that looked like you kind of like first like tense, like the proper tense, serious horror film, weren't it? Because that's a brutal movie. So like,
Yeah.
there was a scene where you like was being like the guy coming out your belly. You was like pregnant with like the killer guy. All like animatronic stuff going off. Yeah. What was that like for filming?
It's funny, I don't really remember that film at all, except for that scene. Oh, and smoking American Spirit cigarettes outside with Lance Henriksen.
Ah, yeah.
I remember that because we smoked the same brand. I thought, oh, this guy's so cool. I don't drink. I don't smoke. Oh, it's okay. I still have chocolate. Don't feel sorry for me. So, um, that's the scene I remember. I can't really tell you any other scenes I did,
Right.
but that scene. Well, it's my memory, man, dude. So it's that scene is ingrained because it was so awkward. So it's like the way they did this is like, think of it this way: you're in a room,
Mm-hmm.
that's a bedroom. The bed is elevated way up. So they recreate the bed on, like, let's just say a box, because it was on a set. Now, so they have a hole in the bed right below the pillow.
Right.
So I came up from underneath. So my head's on the pillow, but my body's down in the hole on a ladder. And there's a man down there on a ladder next to that ladder with another hole where my belly would be, but there's a prosthetic body there. And he's underneath pushing the janky baby up, kind of not through between my legs, but kind of. And right, like, so there's this very, it's actually, it would have been a great still photo because it's really movie making in its finest, how they did this. So awkward. I'm sitting there with my head up on this pillow, but my body's down underneath in the box, which is made to look like a bed. This baby's coming up through what my pretend prosthetic belly. It's so freaking creepy for me. I'm like, that's some weird ass shit right there. And I had troubles crying in the scene because I'm supposed to cry, but I was kind of like, this whole thing is, this whole scenario is just crazy for me. So I had, back in the day, we had a fear of crying on camera when they said action, and I'll tell you why. It goes back to working with film.
Yeah.
Cannot blow a take. So if I were to tell you, cry right now, and normally you could, right? Because you could think of something really sad and you could cry, you would do it. But when the pressure is on you and you know they are not going to be happy with you if you fuck that take up because you couldn't cry. And back in the day, it was all about the tears coming out of the face.
Yeah.
You go to acting class for hours, you practice for hours on how to cry on cue.
Wow.
And the very fact that you put pressure on yourself made it really hard to do it. So like right now I could cry in a minute, like in a second, but you tell me do it now. I could probably do it now because I've
So what is
connected to my body now that I was then.
that the method then? Like, so how do you teach yourself just to cry, like bang, go, cry? What did they teach you with stuff like that?
Back in the day, they'd say, think of something sad. Well, that's easier said than done because you can think of something sad, but unless you are really connected to that memory where it's fresh,
Yeah.
really new, it's not going to work. Or it might work, but when you're put under pressure, there's a block there. So what happens is you literally, they say put up a fourth wall. The fourth wall is where the camera is facing you. Mm-hmm. I say you got to put up all walls and put yourself in that position. You have to bring yourself back to that place. There were actors who would literally scrape their nails with onions and then do things like this.
All right.
In the scene to get it going. Before a scene, they could blow menthol into your eyes. They would close your eyes and they would blow menthol on your eyelashes, on your eyes. And when they say action, you'd open your eyes and the menthol, when you blink, would go in your eyes and tear up.
Jeez.
Now that could get the look of crying or the moist eyes, but if you didn't have the feelings behind it,
yeah,
it didn't really work. And that was your fear that you weren't selling it because they'd be like, "Do you have to tell you're not crying? You know, you're faking it," and you're like, "Oh my God, that's the worst thing you can tell an actor is you're faking it." So there was a lot of pressure back then. Now a CGI they can just freaking just put it in there. But I mean, I don't know who would do that, but we did a lot on Big Sky, the show that I just did. They CGI'd the lead actress's pregnant belly out of the scene.
Jeez.
So don't tell me they can't do shit.
No, I mean they can add
about it. So what would we? So that was the scene for me that was most memorable. I had troubles crying. There was no onions. There was no menthol. So, but Lance was right there playing my dad. He was amazing. He kept whispering in my ear, saying, "You can do this. It's okay. Relax." I can't remember what he was saying, but he was so sweet and so supportive and so amazing and gracious an actor. That made me cry.
It's like, yeah, oh, thanks, Dad. Yeah, so straight away you just cry, just emotion of kindness, you know.
I make me cry every time. Forget about like the grandpa or what, I don't know, all that stuff. But now at 61, I have a lot to right now, not to get into world politics or things, I would never do that. But the world right now is a very scary place, especially here in America, that all I have to do is think about what's going on. And boy, tears will come like that. So right now, for all your actors out there, you got a lot to pull from. Just check outside yourself, take a look at what's going on in the world if you really want to go there, and then go back in and the tears will be there. Yeah.
So I mean, I don't know if other actors do that, because I thought, right, you're going to be crying in this scene, and they give you a minute, go and find a corner somewhere, get your scent going, and it's like, right, you ready? Go. Like, I mean, do they work that sometimes, or is it completely different?
It depends on the director. Some directors are really compassionate and empathetic to the fact that it's not easy for some actors. Oh my God, I don't know. They're like machines. You go cry, and they're like, yeah. and they are crying. You're like, how in the hell do you do that? They're very connected to whatever it is they're using to cry. It's fresh for them. And it's still alive, had a lot of energy. Some think about it. Don't you put up kind of guards all day long after your, say, pet so let's say your pet went behind the curtain. It's a nice way of saying it.
Yeah.
You might say dead. I say goes behind the curtain or leaves its earth body, whatever. It's sad. It's devastating. But you put something up so you can go to the grocery store and buy toilet paper, right? You put something up so you can go out and present yourself. But inside, you're just really, in half, your heart. That same thing, after a while, if you keep it up long enough, becomes creates a callus, like the back of your foot between you and your emotions. So this is kind of what's tricky about being an artist. You want to be able to go out and not be bawling all day long, but you also don't want to be careful of calcifying yourself, right?
Right.
So that's the balance. This is why a lot of artists are a little nutty, a little out of the box. The true artists. There's difference, by the way. Some are actors, and then there's artist actors, right? And it's the same with producers and writers and poets and musicians and stuff. And when you keep that stuff kind of activated in you, you're going to respond to the world differently than those who are, I'm going to say, calcified a little bit.
All right.
Pineal gland, you be careful about that too. That's what brings you to another elevation. But anyway, I won't go there. But for those who understand what I just said, I got you, wink, wink. The pineal gland, they know what I'm talking about. So is it hard? Yeah. Is it difficult? Yeah. But unless, of course, you do a micro budget where they're only giving you $125, less than that, I would say this is why you get the bucks. But that's not always the truth. You might be making less than $100 a day and giving, but we used to say, well, that's why you get the bucks. I don't know. That's not always true anymore.
No.
Yeah. I think, that's why I'm saying if you do your job well, you're tired at the end of the day. You're freaking exhausted, especially if you've got to cry over and over and over again. Generally speaking, hopefully you have a director who's very compassionate and a set that's compassionate to what the actors are putting themselves through to bring you that performance, right?
Yeah.
Actors who put music, really sad music, or music that triggers a time in their life.
Right? I was going to, yeah, right. That's something I think I get more emotional listening to music. Like, so I thought that's something I'd probably want to do. So hearing that, it's like, all right, shit, folks actually do that.
Oh my God. Yeah, you'll have actors having headphones on right before they go on set or right off camera and in between, keeping that, because here's the thing, music is frequency. Is it not?
Yeah.
And frequency is energy.
Yeah, of course.
We are energy. As human beings, we are energy. And think about when that experiment they're doing with music, they put like water or sand on a board and they put music underneath it and it creates shapes.
Yeah, I've seen it.
Well, our bodies are how much water? We're like, what is it? Like, I don't know, 75% water, whatever, water, right?
Yeah.
When you listen to music, it's affecting your frequency and the fluid in your body, and you're going to have a reaction just like those shapes are created with different frequencies of music. So music can make you happy, it can make you sad, It can piss you off. It
Mm.
can make you want to just go out and protest. It also can make you maybe want to just curl up with a blanket and remember somebody, you know,
Wow.
whatever that might be. And this is why music is so important. It is important. I think all the arts are important. And it's important that and I think I'm hoping that we're on a swing to get back to nature, back to music, back to how life was once simple. There's a lot of beautiful things we threw out with baby with the bathwater when it comes to technology and what have you. The fact you're always in your phone, you know, and no longer putting your feet on Mother Earth. I'm talking the grass or the dirt. That's called grounding. She will flood your body with so much energy.
Yeah,
But we get our energy from our phones, watching and looking at other things. Not to say that's not, it's like there's a balance, right?
definitely.
Of course I do. I listen to Instagram. I mean, I have Instagram, you know, of course. But it's the balance of all of that, right?
Yeah, it can take over like very quickly.
Well, it's by design.
Mm.
It's by design to keep us dizzy and busy, to keep us far away from that pineal gland, which is what's going to keep us in harmony with oneself. We have to be in harmony with oneself and Mother Earth and all surroundings. That's difficult when we're only focused on the stuff and the noise around us. The noise, all the stuff that's going on. It keeps you dizzy and busy. Because when
Yeah,
you're quiet, you're with oneself, right? When you're quiet and when oneself and in peace and really responding and hearing another person, and there's a fluid, you know, harmony, a communication, whether it's the person or an animal or something that you see, or hear music. That's, for me, that's kind of why I think we're here. That's one of the many lessons we're supposed to learn while we're here. Some will
oh
get it,
wow.
some will get it, some won't, and that's cool. That's your journey. I'm like, what's your journey? You have to ask yourself that is, right? What's your purpose? What's your
Yeah,
mission? I always say, what's your mission in this lifetime, man? What is it?
yeah.
I don't know
This
that
is
answer.
it. I wish
Yeah,
I knew. I wish I knew.
here's the beauty of that. Your passion, find out what your passion is. Your passion will lead you to your purpose.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
people, what's my purpose? I don't know. What's my mission? I don't know. Well, back up a little bit. What's your passion? What are you passionate about? That will lead you in the direction of your purpose and your mission in this lifetime. And yeah, not to yeah, to me, those are like really important, profound questions that we're guided for some, well, I know why, but we're guided away from those. But those are really incredible questions to ask and find those answers out, because then it changes the trajectory of your life. I'm at
Yeah.
61. I feel like I'm a rebirth at 61, because I'm like, I'm still discovering more things about myself that I didn't know about. Um, when I'm careful about not sucking into the dizzy, busy noise in the world.
Yeah. I think that's it, especially in this day and age, isn't it? I think a lot of people, they could do, they could really need some of that in their lives, definitely. Like, you know, the words you've just said, like, you know, the belief in themselves. Yeah, I think people forget that a lot, you know. So, yeah, incredible words there, to be fair.
Thank you.
So, I mean, going on to, like, I came across one of your movies, the role you played in it. So it's Running Cool with Andrew Divoff, like so the motorbike movie.
Yeah.
So seeing you in that compared to the other roles that you've done before, that was a complete change in style and emotion and everything. So like, can you remember much about that as regards to the filming of it?
Yes. A running cool. It's actually funny you say that, because what happened was I was trained in drama. I was trained for 2 years in drama. There were a couple of things I worked on were comedy, but my initial training was drama. Because at that time in the 80s, if you were a serious actor, you only did films. You didn't do TV. Serious actors didn't do TV. You only did films. And that would mean the drama and the character actors and the whole thing, right? So, boy, have times changed, right?
Yeah.
But so that's where I came from. So, but I believe one of the first things I got that put me on the map was comedy. So what happened was people knew me from the comedic sense. So I got a lot of the comedy roles, which would be I'm not saying this, but this is what they called it back then, dumb blondes. That was what we called them, you know?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, dumb. I played the dumb blonde really well. I'm brunette now, but so I guess I'm just a dumb brunette now.
Ah, no.
Well, here's the beauty about the dumb blondes. All of us who played dumb blondes back then, we had a secret. The
Okay.
secret was we are smarter than you think we are. We play the dumb blonde to get what we want, which is pretty fucking smart.
Yeah.
We really justify playing the dumb blonde that we were actually smarter than y'all think. So Running Cool was, like you said, one of the films that I got that showed my drama chops, right? And so it's interesting because it's not uncommon for somebody, say, to go down the comedy line or the drama line because they see you in something and then you keep getting cast as that, right?
Yeah.
And then so for me, Running Cool was a great opportunity at the time to show my drama chops. Personally, people ask me which one do you like to do better. I love them both equally. And you know what I really love is a mixture of them both. That's where life really is. How many times have you been in a really fucked up, sad situation and somebody cracks a joke? Right?
Yeah.
I still tell the story how my dad, my mom, my little sister, and I, Lori, the unicorn sister you mentioned earlier, how like we were at a family funeral back again in the 80s. Everything happened in the 80s. And we were sitting there, and my dad never went to funerals. I'm not sure why he went to this one. And all I know is the preacher was going, he was very long-winded and had a lot to say. And I say that with no judgment. It was just what is. And I do remember after a while feeling something over to the side of me. Again, I'm all energy. And I look, and my dad is looking at me like, now for those who are listening to this, he's giving me the look like, really? This needs to be done like an hour ago. All that I needed to see. And I'm like, oh, what the quintessential, grab my mouth, don't laugh. You're at a funeral. What happens to my sister Lori? She looks at him and looks at me. Now my dad's trying not to laugh. I'm trying not to laugh. Lori grabs her mouth. Oh, don't laugh. My mom is between the two of us, Lori and I, and my dad. She's livid. She does not think this is funny. Actually, now I think about it, was her best friend at the funeral. She does not think this is funny. That is so inappropriate. Whatever the fuck we're laughing at, it's not okay, which makes us want to laugh more because you don't laugh at a funeral. But if you were to film this, everybody would understand what that was about, why it happened. It was just a look. It was a glance. I don't know what it was thinking, but what I saw was what I was thinking, which is, oh, honey, really? Can we get to the food now? No disrespect to Helen, who, you know, but yeah, like, let me put it this way. My dad passed. He was cremated, and he said he wanted everyone to gather in the living room and just tell stories about him and laugh. But that's my dad. So this whole thing, he just, you know, I'm gonna be turned into like soil. That's what I'm gonna do. I told my boys straight up, you're not gonna be doing all that other stuff. You're gonna turn me into soil that can be replanted under a tree.
Awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. Did you know your light just changed?
I think we've actually got a similar thing to you. It don't look very cloudy outside, so like yeah, that looks really surreal.
It changed right when I was talking about how I want to be turned into soil and put back into Mother Earth and have it be around a tree that my boys can go and visit, or if they want, or my family or whatever. But like I said, if you want to cry, that's fine, but I'd rather have you laugh. But do you do you, boo, right? And oh my God, why did I even was talking about that? Did I just go off on a tangent? I'm sorry.
No, absolutely. I love all this stuff. So yeah, it's just chatting, isn't it? So I love it. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's me. All my interviews and podcasts are like this. We just have fun.
Yeah. I mean, so we're on about Running Cool, obviously, like, because so I was going to mention, like, so like you say, like the dumb blondes, like you were doing that for quite a while. Was you purposely looking for a role like that, or did it come to you? Did you just say, oh, there's an opportunity here? Like, how did it come about where it's like, I want to do something a bit different now?
This is how I've always been. There's no rhyme, no reason. I just love to work. I don't give a shit.
Okay.
Right? I audition for everything. But I do remember at that time back then, me being worried that I was only getting comedy roles and I was never going to get the dramatic role that would launch me into the bigger films, because back then that was the ladder you were climbing to get into, like you said, a studio film. That was the goal. Now it's just work for me. It's just I don't give a shit where you air it or if it airs at all. Just I want to do the work, and I want to have a experience with the crew and other cast members, and hopefully spread a little sunshine in the process, and have some joy while we're here on this earth in these bodies, right? And entertain. Hopefully somebody enjoys it, right?
Yeah.
So I'm going to say at the time it was definitely strategic. I was trying to eke away from comedy into drama only because that's what you did back then. But I remember there was a certain time where all that changed. Oh my God, reality or musicians were now, feature film people were crossing over to TV. Actors' roles were going to musicians, celebrities. The whole playing field changed overnight. We were like, wait a minute, wow, our competition just got crazy. Now it's all over the map. What do you mean? Let's just say, I don't know, who was it? The musicians started to act.
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot then, weren't there? I mean, Bowie for a start.
Yeah, and that never happened. Or like somebody with a name, like, I don't know.
Like a sports star and, stuff like.
My God, yeah, athletes, musicians, a celebrity with a recognizable face and name, all of a sudden started taking roles from actors on TV and feature films. So now I got even more competitive. So it became not even really about whether or not you could do the role anymore, because because the playing field changes. Now, mind you, I started in 82. Right now it's, what is it, 2025? Yeah. So you do the math. My brain's dead. So to say I've seen the industry change and then change again and then change again and then change again is an understatement. This is where the term bamboo comes in. If you go up against the change, it ain't going to work so well for you. You have to find a way to move with the change, and it's hard sometimes. I'm not a big fan of change. But if I'm interested in working, I better get used to it. And again, this is where I think having other interests is incredibly important, just to keep your sanity, your artistic chops, and all that. Yeah, I took 10 years off, and I went to college, which is crazy. I'm not a left brain person, but I've got a bachelor's bachelor's in psych and a master's of social work at UCLA. And right at the end of that, I got Big Sky. So that brought me back to the cameras. So that was fun. So I do have a degree, and I do have 10 years of education, and I also got sober, like I said, in there, raising and so that was an incredible journey. And then raising 2 kids on my own, lots of rescued animals in there too, just because I didn't have enough going on. And so, but
so like in the time off, obviously 10 years and then going back straight into quite a successful series really on Disney Plus. So how daunting was that, having such a big gap? Like, did it kind of like, well, I feel a bit rusty here, or you was just loving it?
Well, both. First of all, I was so flattered and so grateful to get the role of Denise. It was really a lifeline, because I was just about to finish my last year of college. I didn't, because this is so I'm kind of sometimes too much in the moment so try not to future trip. But unless you look into the future, you're not going to really be planned for the future. So I was about to finish it. I was a year sober. I had to take a year off of my college education. I took a year of sobriety just to get it right. I had to nail that down. I had to work through peeling the onion, of sobriety and my demons and my trauma and all that stuff. So I went back to finish the last year, and I was thinking, oh shit, how am I going to survive? How am I going to financially survive on a social worker's salary with 2 boys and all these animals? It was actually impossible, to be honest with you. Wow. But because they make like no money. I wasn't working with children, by the way, because I would have been arrested. Yeah, because there's no way a child. No, I would have been arrested for sure. It would have been ugly. So my area of concentration as a social worker was the older population, gerontology, and those experiencing homelessness and mental health. And then with my own sobriety, I'm gonna throw that in there because they don't teach you that anything about, very little about addiction, which is stupid because it often goes hand in hand with mental health.
Yeah.
Anyway, but I'm just more learned on that from my own personal experience and my year of really studying what it was I had and my disease and addiction and blah blah blah. So and this is where my spirituality really kicked in as well, because I'm not religious. So I had to fundamentally find something to lean on that was bigger than me. Most people, that's God, right? I didn't have that. So I'm not to say your people's God's not real for them. Of course it is. It's just your God's not my God, right?
Yeah.
My God was God, a group of drunks.
Oh, no.
No, I ripped that off from a guy at AA. He said that it was hysterical. No, a group of drunks was not my God, but I love that stuff.
That's cool.
Yeah, when I was asked that question, what's your God? I was like, yeah, I'm sorry, I'm not going to go there with you. The organized religion, I have issues with that. And then they said, well, what's bigger than you? What's bigger than you, Dedee? And I was like, oh, Mother Earth. Mother Earth is I'm like a little, not even a piece of sand on this bad bitch. Not to mention the universe around us, and then keep going. I am super little, if not nothing, in the spectrum of the universe. So they were like, sounds like that's your higher power. I said, let's go with it. Very humble when I think of the universe. And I think that's what religion does for a lot of people. And humility is a beautiful place to grow and come from. And there's gratitude in that. And gratitude is incredibly important, that whole thing. So in my years of taking off, when I came back, did not know how I was going to financially do it. I've been out of the industry for 10 years. And I was like, oh shit. But I just kept believing that it was going to work out. I just kept telling the universe, somehow this is going to work out. This will work out. Law of attraction. Trust me. The universe is listening to you. So be careful what you tell it. Right? So I kept saying, I know this is going to work out. I know this is going to work out. Out of nowhere, I got a text from my brother-in-law, David E. Kelly, who I didn't even know had my phone number. And listen, I love him. He's my brother-in-law. We see each other on holidays. But he never called me, never texted me. He said, hey, Dee, are you still acting? I have a role in this show called Big Sky. And are you still? And I was like, are you kidding me? So I yell. It's one of those YESSSSSS exclamation point. Drop my phone. Oh my God. Got off. I was interning at finishing my last year, like I said, of my bachelor or my master's in social work. Called my sister Shell, who's married to him, and I said, oh my God, David just off my mind. She's like, I know. I knew this whole time. He told me I couldn't tell you. And she goes, Sal, it's a great role. Oh, she called me Sal. Oh my God, it's a great role. Can you do this? I said, oh, you kidding me? I can do anything. I got sober. I raised 2 kids. I rescued animals. I got through 3 divorces. Are you kidding me? I can do anything. I can do it. So I was literally finishing finals, pandemic, doing a pilot.
Jeez.
And when I got back, I hadn't realized how much the industry had changed. Holy shit balls. Once again, it's almost like every 10 years it shifts and it changes, as it should. But I didn't know. I had come in with this, the way the industry was 10 years before that. So I was talking to all these actors and I was saying things that clearly I realized were very dated. I didn't know. And I think they were looking at me like, oh, poor thing. She's still in the whatever year that was, right? And then I would find out after, oh God, they're right. And I'm really wrong.
Yeah.
So that was very humbling because after you can have I don't know how many generations, 30 plus years of acting. Most of that, not all of it, was rewritten and it had changed. So I once again had to remember bamboo.
Jeez.
And start being an observer of an industry that I was very much submerged and involved with that, but I had to learn the new ways of the way things were. A lot of new stuff. I mean, I could sit here all day. We can talk about what the things I had to learn. And then it was the first time that I was performing in a sober state. Now, I say that meaning I never was in front of the camera having any alcohol or drinking. Never, never. Smoking cigarettes like a motherfucker, yes, but never. But I'm not going to tell you after rap, I wasn't, I was a high functioning alcoholic. That's what they call it.
Okay.
High functioning. Y'all know who you are. High functioning means you do your work, you go to school, you do the things sober, but when no one's looking, you're just fucking knocking it down.
Right.
You don't feel very fresh the next morning, but you get up and you do it anyways because we're hardcore, high functioning addicts. Anyways,
Wow.
so I'm going to say I was that. So I went to this job sober, like really sober. And that was different for me. It was, and then learning that a lot of the stuff I knew was all rewritten and different. So and being away from my kids, it was a pandemic.
Wow.
It was a lot of change. And I'm so lucky that I got through all of that without smoking or drinking. There wasn't smoking cigarettes, literally. I'm telling you, like right now, if you ask me, would you rather have a drink or a cigarette? I'm going to say a cigarette, which is pretty crazy considering,
Jeez.
Oh, yeah. Isn't that nuts? Yeah.
That's crazy.
Not to say that if you said I could have one of each.
Yeah.
But here's the problem with having a cigarette and a drink. I'm going to want another drink and another cigarette and another drink and another cigarette. And there we go. There's
Come hand in hand, unfortunately, don't they?
Yeah, I just know how I work, so it's like not an option. No, it is an option, but I'm choosing every day not to do that because I really like who I am in sobriety. I really like who I am now, and I like that no matter what's thrown my way, I have my feet planted on Mother Earth, and Mother Earth has got my back. She's got me. She's got me. I know she does. Just like your God's got you, my God's got me, and she and the universe, they got me, and I got them. I also really I'm grateful for what Mother Earth gives us every day, by the way.
Oh, that's incredible. I mean, it's a hell of a journey you've been on. So, I mean, I could talk freaking for hours, you know what I mean? So, but unfortunately, I've got to wrap it up and all this. But Dedee Pfeiffer, what an incredible guest. It's been an absolute pleasure. Can't thank you enough for this opportunity.
Thank you for having me. I love being here.
Oh, thank you. No, the pleasure's all mine, 100%. So
we'll do it again in a year. Maybe I'll have a job by then, or maybe I might be starting something when it comes to rescuing animals and having the rescued animals help rehab people.
Oh, nice.
Animal therapy. I'm trying to figure out how to make that work. So if that maybe in a year from now, if that happens, we can have me back on. Look at me, I'm still sweating. And we can come and I can tell you all about that because that I think is important. Animals and people coming together. I think that's really beautiful.
Yeah, 100%. I'm all for that. So thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure. You're a true legend, so thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a beautiful day.
Yeah, you too. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.